Hi everyone, I'm Will and this is my YouTube channel. So today I'm here to talk to you about a subject that I grew up with, that I grew to love, and that's Sherlock Holmes. Now, the new series of Sherlock has come out, but as most of you probably already know, the story doesn't start with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. Oh no, the story starts back in the Victorian era, where Sir Arthur Conan Doyle started writing books about a detective called Sherlock Holmes and his assistant John Watson. Now, what a lot of people forget is that the stories, most of them, are narrated by John Watson and narrated by Martin Freeman's character, and then he tells what goes on. So when Irene Adler first appears to Sherlock Holmes, when Sherlock Holmes is telling him about a story about when Sherlock Holmes saw Irene Adler marry someone, never comes up in A Scandal in Belgravia. And actually the original book wasn't called A Scandal in Belgravia, but called A Scandal in Belgravia. Just as tonight's episode, if you're in the UK, is A Sign of 3, the original book is called A Sign of 4. The first one of the last series isn't called An Empty Hearse, but it's called An Empty House. And actually, the villain in Sherlock Holmes, spoiler alert, in the TV show, is actually the same name as the villain in the book, which I just find mind-blowing. And there are so many little references to Sherlock Holmes books in the TV shows. The last episode had references to A Case of Identity, when a man and a woman come up and the woman has lost her potential husband-to-be. That's exactly the same as the story of A Case of Identity. And different little things that you have in these stories which all interconnect together, and it's just like reading the books except with very much modern twists. You know, I salute Mark Gatiss and all of the other Russell T Davies and all the other writers of Sherlock for just doing an amazing job. Now, this is where I get picky. Because it's Sherlock Holmes, because I love it so much, everything has to be right. I pointed out 3 mistakes in the last Sherlock Holmes episode. This may sound nitpicky, but because it's Sherlock, it has to be spot on. In the books, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle would spend literally days fact-checking his books. And I'm sure there are fact-checkers on Sherlock Holmes, but they could at least get a platform of a station right. So here's one of them. In the first episode of the new series, Sherlock watched a video of Westminster Tube Station of the platform on District Line. That's not the platform of the District Line. It looks completely different. The 2 lines going north and southbound are completely opposite each other. And when they're going to pick up the bomb, you can see a Northern Line poster. Westminster is nowhere near the Northern Line. Sorry, me being nitpicky, but because it's Sherlock Holmes, it has to be right. And it's like, with the film, Robert Downey Jr. film where he plays Sherlock, you had Irene Adler and Moriarty in the same one. I watched it just thinking, mind going crazy, how is this happening? Staying true to books, to my mind, is very important because the books were written for a reason. And books that communicate best into screenplays, into films, is when you don't mess about with the content. I mean, Sherlock's stories, like that of William Shakespeare, like that with Susan Collins and The Hunger Games, they translate best when you don't mess around with the content. It was like when Stormbreaker came out in the UK. Alex Better played Alex Rider, the hero of these Alex Rider series by Anthony Horowitz. They changed the story around so much that people just didn't like it, you know. And you might have gotten away with a book that was written 200 years ago because the fan base is that much smaller, but you can't get away with a book that was written about 10 years ago. Rant over, but I really hope you enjoy this series of Sherlock, and I love the fact it's coming out in Britain a couple of weeks before the US get to see it. I love that because it's a British thing and we absolutely love it. Okay, I shall see you hopefully next week. Bye!